Launch Director.
Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Mission Director.
3,
You have permission
2.
to launch.
We have ignition of the RS-68A main engine. And we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket.
Mach 1, execute, and then indication of spacecraft separation.
At Space Launch Complex 6, a Delta IV Heavy rocket is fueled and ready to launch the NROL-71 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. Good evening and welcome to ULA's live launch broadcast. I'm Tyler Strickland, a trajectory engineer from ULA's mission design team. Currently, the team is trying to resolve an anomalous has-gas concentration reading. What that means is they are seeing a high level of hydrogen concentration around the base of the rocket. Because of this issue, our T0 has moved to 5:49 p.m. Pacific. We'll conclude tonight's coverage following confirmation of payload fairing jettison, which occurs about 6 minutes after liftoff. A few minutes from now, the count will enter a planned 15-minute hold. This hold gives our team some additional time to resolve any issues that may come up prior to entering the terminal count. As I mentioned earlier, coverage will conclude following payload fairing jettison. While our team works through the final preps, let's take a look at a preview of some of the events we'll see.
We have ignition of the RS-68 engines. 2, 1, 0. We have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket for the National Reconnaissance Office.
3 Delta IV RS-68A main engines ignite and generate more than 2.1 million pounds of thrust to lift the rocket away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, Delta IV begins a pitch over to attain the proper flight path while minimizing the pressure the vehicle experiences during flight. The Delta IV reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 1 minute 22 seconds. At 3 minutes 56 seconds, the port and starboard booster engine shut down, followed by jettison 2 seconds later. The center booster engine then throttles to full power to maximize performance. Approaching main engine cutoff, Delta IV is burning propellant at a rate of 1,945 pounds per second, traveling at more than 13,281 miles per hour and located 115 miles in altitude and 378 miles downrange. At 5 minutes 36 seconds, propellant levels deplete and the main engine shuts down. 7 seconds later, the Delta IV separation system activates to release the first stage. The vehicle now weighs a little more than 7% of what it did at liftoff. At 5 minutes 55 seconds, the first Delta cryogenic second stage, or DCSS main engine burn, begins. During ascent, NROL-71 is protected inside a 5-meter diameter payload fairing. At approximately 6 minutes 6 seconds, the payload fairing is jettisoned.
RCLC-1. This is CRCN-1. Okay, at step 940, conduct weather briefing on Channel 8 Weather Conference Net. Roger.
Minus 21 minutes. T minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes.
P&E, LC net 1.
P&E's on 1.
At step 980, proceed with final pneumatic preps.
Roger.
Fuel 1, LC.
Good.
Perform CBC, LH2, fill and drain valve cycle test.
Roger.
T-minus 8 minutes.
LOX 1, LC. Go. Perform CBC, LOX, fill and drain valve cycle test.
Roger.
GE, verify TISR status ready.
TISR status ready.
SYS, LC.
Go.
Establish best source selector locked on RF and range sources.
Roger.
Initiate orbital parameter calculations on primary CCLS.
Roger.
CME, LC1. Go. Establish video recording.
Roger.
ULA is using a Delta IV Heavy rocket to launch the NROL-71 mission. This is the 38th Delta IV launch since the inaugural flight in 2002 and the 11th flight of the Heavy configuration. Produced in Decatur, Alabama, the Delta IV Heavy, the nation's proven heavy lift launcher, is comprised of 3 common booster cores, each powered by Aerojet Rocketdyne RS-68A engines, and a Delta Cryogenic second stage powered by an Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10B2 engine. The NROL-71 payload is protected during ascent by a 5-meter diameter payload fairing. Let's have a look at a few of the events that took place in preparation for launch. On October 26th, the spacecraft, encapsulated inside the payload fairing, was transported to the Mobile Service Tower, or MST, at Space Launch Complex 6 and mated to the Delta IV Heavy rocket. The Mobile Assembly Shelter, or MAS, was moved to its launch position. The MAS protects the Delta IV rocket from the wind and fog so common to its location here on California's Pacific coast. Final launch preparations at Space Launch Complex 6 begin with rollback of the Mobile Service Tower, or MST. Using 40 hydraulic cylinders at pressures nearing 3,500 psi, the MST was raised 8 inches and rolled back, revealing the Delta IV Heavy. At 100 feet by 100 feet by 300 feet, the MST is as tall as a football field is long, as wide as the length of a basketball court, and weighs in at about 10 million pounds. Using a carriage transporter system traveling at about a quarter mile per hour, it takes about 25 minutes to roll the MST to its launch position 300 feet east of the rocket. The Delta IV Heavy stands 232 feet tall, or about 23 stories, and weighs about 1.6 million pounds fully fueled. The 3 Delta IV RS-68A main engines produce more than 2 million pounds of thrust. Approximately 6 minutes later, at stage separation, it weighs just 7% of what it did at liftoff. The NRO is a joint organization engaged in the research and development, acquisition, launch, and operation of innovative overhead reconnaissance systems necessary to meet the needs of the intelligence community and the Department of Defense. The NRO is recognized for its innovative intelligence collection systems that are used to develop highly accurate military targeting data, support international peacekeeping and humanitarian relief operations, and to assess the impact of natural disasters. The art for today's mission depicts an eagle as a symbol of both freedom and the nation, providing a fitting mascot to represent NRO's support to our nation's warfighter. The initials JLC on the foreground dog tag are in honor of Colonel Joshua L. Chamberlain, a Union commander who was awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroism at the Battle of Gettysburg on July 2, 1863, when he held the Union Army's southern flank at Little Round Top against a repeated assault from Confederate forces. Colonel Chamberlain's heroism, leadership, and commitment to service before self exemplifies the ethos of the American warfighter who the NRO is committed to serving each and every day. The art also includes the NRO mission number 71, along with the Delta IV Heavy in Vandenberg Air Force Base to indicate both the launch vehicle and location. The motto, "Serving Those Who Serve," rounds out the logo and represents the NRO's commitment to delivering the mission on time to the warfighter and intelligence community.
LC, this is AC on Net 1, ready to provide an outbrief of the port CBC engine section has gas detection issue.
Do I have LD on one?
LD.
MD.
MD.
Proceed, AC.
Yes, we had a report on the port CBC engine section that we saw a high hydrogen indication on the sample port in that area. The team did considerable amount of troubleshooting to determine if this was a real indication or not, and the conclusion of the team after multiple has-gas scans and dwells on those sample ports that the belief is that we do have a real hydrogen leak in that section. We are currently above the allowable TRD level for hydrogen detection in that for that sample location. And so team concurred that, anomaly team concurred that we are in a no-fly condition at this time. Additional troubleshooting was examined for the center body, and team determined that there's no issue in the other, either in the center CBC or starboard CBC engine sections. So for that reason, no additional troubleshooting was requested or recommended. So with that, the recommendation remains that we are in a no-fly condition. That concludes my outbrief.
LC copies and concurs. LD?
LD concurs.
MD?
MD concurs.
LC, LD channel 1.
LC?
LC, the MD has declared a scrub for today's operations. Please set up the team for a 24-hour recycle.
Roger. All personnel proceeding to Operation 80.
This is Delta Mission Control. It has been confirmed that we will not continue with tonight's NROL-71 launch activities. We have a 24-hour recycle, so our next launch attempt will be tomorrow at 5:31 p.m. Pacific. For the most up-to-date information, please visit ulalaunch.com, follow us at ULA Launch, or call 1-877-ULA-4321. This concludes this evening's broadcast. I'm Tyler Strickland. Thank you for joining us.